and this is the week 6 day 1 video. Today, before we get started, I want you to take a moment to think. Can you think of an example of heat transfer? Go ahead and draw it or describe it below. If you would like to use the periodic, I include a self-paced periodic in the description below. If you want to just draw it or describe it on a piece of paper, you're welcome to do that as well. Go ahead and pause the video to take a moment to describe or draw it. Alright, now that you draw your example, let's take a look at what heat transfer is again. It is the thermal energy exchange between two objects of different temperature. Now, very important key point right here, different temperature. If they are the same temperature, heat transfer is not going to continue. It stops when both objects reach to the same temperature. And they always go to the same direction. It goes from warmer to cooler part. So right here, if you are touching the handle on this boiling pot of water, don't do that because it's get really hot. But let's say if someone touch it, what is going to happen is that the heat is going to go from the handle of the pot of boiling water to your hand, and that's why you feel that it is hot. And for our agenda today, this Wednesday, it will be an asynchronous Wednesday. You will have time to study and prepare for your quiz. For odd period, you have your quiz this Thursday, and for even period, you have your quiz this Friday. For those who did not get to join our picture day last Friday, we'll also have the 7th grade picture day this Friday 2 to 4:30 p.m. so you can join us at that time. Today we will take some time to review your assignment, go through the study guide. We will have a Quizizz. You can take a stretch break, and we will also watch the Bill Nye Heat video. In the description below, you'll find again the self-paced link for periodic, the study guide, Quizizz, and also the Bill Nye Heat video. Let's first review our assignment from last time. You can find this assignment in your Google Classroom under week 5, thermal energy. You can click on the Google form right here to find your assignment. Once you click on it, you should see this screen. Okay, this is showing that you completed the assignment with us during class last time. Make sure to click on View Score. This is showing how you did on the assignment. If you get lower than 7 points, then it probably shows that you missed some key points when you were reading the article the first time. So you want to go back to reread the article and correct your answers. Let's go over this assignment. After you click View Score, you can check what point you get. Again, you can also find the article again in both English and Spanish. First question, what is energy? Energy is a natural force that do work and cause change. True or false, energy can be made or destroyed, and that is false. Energy cannot be made or destroyed, and that is part of conservation of energy. Number 3, true or false. Energy can be transferred from one object to another. That is true. We can even see energy can be changed from one form to another, as we recall the Bill Nye video that we watched 2 weeks ago. We can see how potential energy can change to kinetic energy. Electrical energy can change to heat energy. So we can see that energy can change in different form. They can also transfer from one object to another. Which of the following example is not an example of heat transfer? And that will be conservation. Conduction, convection, and radiation are all examples of heat transfer. A metal spoon is left in a bowl of hot soup. This is an example of conduction. Conduction is describing heat transfer that involves direct contact, directly two objects directly touching each other. Noodles rise and fall in a pot of heated water. This is an example of convection. What is convection? Within convection, we can see cold water. Again, the molecule, they are more packed together, making it more dense. Then it will sink. Cold water, on the other hand, the molecules are more spread out, they're less packed together, they're less dense, and the hot water will go up. Last two questions. We feel the heat from the sun even though we are not touching it. This is an example of radiation. Again, the sun is over 92 million miles away from us, but we still feel the heat from the sun. Again, this is radiation. Another example closer to us, we feel the heat from campfire even though we are not touching it. This is also an example of radiation. Radiation happens when you feel the heat even though that you are not touching it at all. And it can be millions of miles away just like the sun. So with that, let's move on and let's take a look at the quiz number 3 study guide. Again, you can also find the link in the description below. Let's take a look at the study guide. The quiz should take no more than 20 to 30 minutes, but you have the entire period to complete your quiz. After you finish the quiz, please double check your answer before submitting your quiz. Please remember the quiz is only open during our class time. You receive a 0 if you submit a blank quiz or do not work on the quiz during class time. So just a reminder, the quiz is different from the assignment. The assignment, like this one right here, you can do it as many times as you need to make sure, because we are practicing on the assignment. So you can do it as many times as you need to. But for the quiz, it is different. For the quiz, you do want to make sure you double check before submitting your quiz, because after you submit your quiz, you will not be able to change your answer. I changed the format slightly. In our last two quiz, we have 10 questions altogether, and each question are worth 2 points. But this time we are going to have 15 questions altogether, and each question is worth 1 point. So hopefully that gives you more chances to get the question correctly. And all the questions will be multiple choice. Make sure to read each of the questions carefully. You will not be able to change your answer after you submit your quiz. Here are some vocabulary you should know before the quiz. Energy, thermal energy, conduction, convection, and radiation. On the right, here are some concepts you should know. You should be able to explain the direction of how thermal energy travels. Earlier, we talked about how it always travels from something that is hotter to something that is colder. You should be able to define conduction, convection, and radiation. You should be able to identify examples for conduction, convection, and radiation. And today in our Bill Nye video, we'll also be focusing at identifying more examples as well. You should be able to apply your understanding of heat transfer and interpret lab data. Now here are some tips on how to study. Review your thermal energy reading and week 5 day 3 assignments. So right here, the reading that we have and this assignment, this will be helpful to review. Review your notes, the notes that you took in the Bill Nye energy video from week 4 assignment, and also the Bill Nye heat video that you took, that you will be taking notes on later today. If you miss any of the class, you can always rewatch the video on my YouTube channel as well. Alright, with that, let's take a look at 2 sample questions. Sample question number 1. Which of the following is the best example of heat transfer by conduction? Take a look again. Which of the following is the best example of heat transfer by conduction? What do you think? What is conduction? Think about what conduction means. Let's take a look at the answer choices. In our first answer choices, meat cooking in a microwave. That is an example of radiation. Being burned by a hot spoon. That is an example of conduction. Water being warmed by the sun. Again, the sun and the water is not touching each other, so that is definitely not a conduction. This is actually an example of radiation. An electric fan moving air. So electric fan actually come from electrical energy, so it's different from thermal energy. So the correct answer in here would be right here. Being burned by a hot spoon is an example of conduction. Let's take a look at the second example. Example question number 2. The table below shows the temperature of water placed in container made of 4 different materials. The initial temperature of the water was 40 degrees Celsius, and the final temperature were taken after 10 minutes. During the experiment, how much did the temperature change for the container that allowed the most transfer of thermal energy? If you notice right here, all of the containers started with 40 degrees Celsius. After 10 minutes, the water in the wood container is 32 degrees Celsius. In the metal container, water is 18 degrees Celsius. In a paper container, the water is 30 degrees Celsius. And in the plastic container is 28 degrees Celsius. They say which one allowed the most transfer of thermal energy, meaning which one did they lose the most amount of heat. In here, they lose 8 degrees Celsius. Metal, they lost 22 degrees Celsius. Paper, they lost 10 degrees Celsius. Plastic, they lost 12 degrees Celsius. Out of these 4, the one that lost the most amount of heat was metal, which lost 22 degrees Celsius. So with that, again, there is a few type of questions that you see. Majority of the question is based on example of conduction, convection, and radiation. You might see 2 to 3 questions that are like example 2, where it is asking you to apply your understanding of heat transfer to interpret lab data. If there's any question, please do let me know. You can reach out to me through email. And with that, let's try out the Quizizz. So the Quizizz link is on the bottom. Click on it. There are 10 questions. You can try it out multiple times. If you did it one time but you feel like you can do better, then try again. At this time, we are going to be watching the Bill 9 video. You'll be taking 10 notes in complete sentence, and I want you to focus on examples. Example of conduction, convection, and radiation. You can find the assignment again in your Google Classroom. Go down to week 6 Bill 9 video, and this is where you will be taking your notes. Again, 10 notes in complete sentence. Try to focus on example if you can. Go ahead and click on this video while you're taking your notes. Now that you've finished the video, what is an example that you heard from the Bill 9 video? Go ahead and share with someone next to you. With that, we will have some independent work time. Make sure turn in your week 6 notes If you have any missing work, make sure to continue to work on it. On Wednesday, we will not be meeting live. We will have a synchronous Wednesday, so make sure to study for your quiz. On Wednesday, go back to your quiz study guide, take a look, review your thermal energy reading, review your notes, and rewatch the video if you miss any. With that, have a great day. I'll see you on Thursday. Bye bye.